From news and views, issues and opportunities, we'll have in-depth conversations with decision makers to find out what they know and what they think. I'm Rico Hizon, inviting you to join the exchange because your business is our business.
Ang pelikulang ito ay rated PG.
An all too familiar sound for avid moviegoers. An experience many are missing watching movies on the big screen. Officials and health experts are debating and discussing how safe is it to open movie theaters again.
Halos lahat ng alkalde ay ayaw po ng ganito dahil nga of course it is enclosed.
What does this mean to an ailing industry supporting tens and thousands of workers nearly a year into the COVID shutdown? And you're asking, when will doors open again to moviegoers? When do we get to hear the most famous words, coming soon to a theater near you? But the show must go on. These video streaming services are entertaining a world on lockdown, revolutionizing entertainment in the COVID era in our sweet vision. Metro Manila mayors are cautious about reopening movie theaters due to the ongoing threat of COVID-19. But some health experts say the risks of contracting the virus in theaters are much lower compared to going to the gym or eating in a restaurant. Let's now have an exchange with infectious disease specialist, Dr. Benjamin Ko. Doc, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us, what are the risks of contracting COVID-19 in a movie house compared to a recreational facility or in a restaurant, which are also enclosed areas?
Well, let's put it this way in perspective. No? If we look at, and let me classify it depending on certain areas. If we look at an outdoor restaurant on a scale of 10 to 100, I would probably put 10. In a grocery store, about 15 to 20. For a commercial airline, around 40 to 50. And in an indoor movie, about 50 to 60, up to 75 if people are laughing, shouting, and singing along. And of course, if you look at an indoor bar with masks and social distancing not enforced, then that would be 80. So on a scale of 0 to 100, that would be the scale and how safe it is on going to an indoor movie. It would be around 50 to 75.
All right. So Dr. Ko, nakausap rin namin si Navotas Mayor Toby Tiangco. And he has this fear tungkol po sa pagbubukas ng mga leisure facilities.
Ang sabi is ng health experts na number one, tataas. There is a chance na tumaas hanggang 2,400 cases per day ang NCR kung mag-MGCQ. And number two, high risk pa din ang mga kabataan, no? Yung below 18 doon sa GCQ.
So, Dr. Ko, natatakot rin ba kayo sa sinasabi ni Mayor Tiangco if we continue to open up the economy and especially facilities within closed areas that we may see a rise in infection numbers?
But it's not only facilities with enclosed areas na medyo nakakatakot. It's an overall access for everybody. We need to remember that while the government contemplates a calibrated and gradual reopening of society and the economy, there's even greater cooperation and collaboration between the government, business, civil society that is required from every Filipino to overcome the next wave of pandemic challenges. Because as we reopen, it's important that any effort the government undertakes in the fight against COVID-19 is taken into consideration. It's incumbent upon us to exercise that we have safe workplaces, we put into perspective, physical distancing, proper hygiene.
Right.
Ito dapat natatandaan natin lahat eh.
So all stakeholders really have to work together, no? So we won't see a rise in the number of infections. And Doctor, may opinion dito si San Juan Mayor Francis Zamora tungkol sa pagbukas ng mga sinehan at mga video arcades and other leisure facilities.
Personally, no, para sa akin, konting panahon na lang kailangan natin tayin sapagkat nandiyan na po ang bakuna. I don't think we have to rush all of this now. I would rather wait for the vaccine rollout.
So Doc, palagay ninyo, should we just wait until we get vaccinated and then open up the economy even further?
Well, let's wait for the first vaccines to arrive. I mean, I think this is something that we've been waiting for the longest time. If, let's take for granted mag-MGCQ tayo, no? Tapos biglang tumaas ang ating mga numbers, ma-overwhelm na naman ang healthcare capacity ng National Capital Region. We are number 15 in the densest city in the world. And pag na-overwhelm ang healthcare capacity ng National Capital Region, lahat ito mabaliwala na naman. Balik na naman tayo sa umpisa. I don't really understand why itong mga higher risk situations, higher risk areas, hindi tayo makapaghintay hanggang hindi nabibigyan ng sapat na bakuna ang ating mga frontliners. Kasi kung hihintayin natin, kung hindi ko maintindihan kung ano minamadali natin dito. I mean, let me call a spade,
Right.
no?
Yes.
If we really want to open everything, why don't we just start with schools first? What is the rationale for opening a video arcade, for opening a movie house, when we don't even consider reopening schools way ahead?
So when you say reopening schools, Doctor, how soon should we be opening schools for kids?
That's a simple answer. You know, I think one of the greatest scare we have is when we say we reopen schools, akala natin, dapat magbukas yung eskwelahan sa Metro Manila. Hindi, pwede naman natin umpisahan sa mga areas that have very low endemicity for COVID-19. So we can start there kasi sila din naman ang hindi na naaabutan siguro ng relief goods, no? So let's be practical about it. There are areas that we can allow the reopening of schools, and we need to consider that first and foremost. Now, in the National Capital Region, we know it is highly congested, and we are seeing that while we remain flat, the reproduction rate is still at 1 to 1.1, sometimes up to 1.2. I mean, like yesterday, Pasay City was the number 1. I mean, who would imagine Pasay City having 112 cases for the day, beating the city of Manila, beating Quezon City?
So kailangan talaga natin pag-isipan ang pagbukas ng ating ekonomiya, especially for the health of many Filipinos. Thank you so much, Dr. Benjamin Ko, for this insightful exchange. And now here's a rundown of the week's top business stories. President Rodrigo Duterte signs into law a bill allowing banks to sell bad loans to asset management companies. Hog producers want higher price ceilings for meat products to encourage more production. And China is now Europe's biggest trading partner, dealing more goods than the United States. And straight ahead on The Exchange, where your business is our business, find out how the country's biggest movie theater operator is preparing for a safe reopening. And one of the world's most loved chocolates will be missing a key ingredient. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines. News you can use. News you can trust.
Pag magsisine, risky rin kasi di natin alam kung yung mapupuntahan natin kung may virus ba.
Hindi na po. Kasi kasi ngayong pandemic may na rin, may Netflix na rin na sa cellphone, ganun. Tsaka para mas safe din.
Hindi po. Kasi po, syempre, titingnan po natin kung nasusunod ba yung mga safety protocol sa loob ng sinihan.
I'm so excited you are staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Metro Manila mayors have voted in favor of placing the region under modified general community quarantine this March. Acting NEDA Chief Carl Chua said extending the lockdown will worsen hunger and poverty. Movie theaters have been shut down for almost a year because of the COVID-19 threat, but some operators have found ways to adapt while still keeping patrons safe. Our Pauline Versosa takes us to a drive-in and float-in movie experience.
Drive-in movie theaters boomed back to life as SM malls gave Filipinos a taste of the unique experience. Long lines of cars waited to enter the concert grounds turned cinema.
So this is what going to the cinemas will look like in the new normal. We are entering the first drive-in cinema here in Metro Manila. But before coming here, tickets must have been purchased already online because no tickets will be sold inside the venue. So as you can see, we are entering the drive-in cinema. And okay, so they just gave us our drive-in kit. So inside this, you have your menu for additional food and drinks. But your ticket already comes with one bottle of water, popcorn, and beef frank. So this is just for additional food. They also gave us this QR code for your health contact tracing form, as well as some additional information in the drive-in cinema. Now, for added safety, viewers will be asked to stay inside their cars throughout the entire movie while wearing their face masks and practicing social distancing to ensure that they don't contract COVID-19.
The Venice Grand Canal Mall in Taguig City has also taken the movie experience to a whole different level. Last December, they launched the first ever float-in cinema in the country. Inspired by the Grand Canal of Venice, the mall's area for iconic Venetian gondolas was converted into an outdoor theater, which makes for a safe and romantic night out. But many still ask the question, can traditional movie theaters ever safely return in the new normal? Or will these cinemas be the safest option in the age of the coronavirus? Pauline Versosa, CNN Philippines.
So how are indoor theaters preparing to welcome moviegoers safely to revive their business? Let's have an exchange now with Stephen Tan, president of SM Supermalls, the biggest cinema operator in the country. Stephen, thank you so much for joining us. So how are you getting your movie houses in Metro Manila ready for reopening to keep it safe from the virus?
Rico, we have some malls that are already operating. No? Cinemas in the MGCQ areas like in Pampanga, Cavite, Baguio, Visayas, and Mindanao, we have already been operating our cinemas since during the transition of the city from GCQ to MGCQ. No? So we already have experience. We make sure that safety is really our top concern. Safety is our top priority. We work closely with the local government unit to make sure that they have an environment that is safe and secured. So
what are the health and safety protocols inside the enclosed movie house, Stephen?
Okay, we have, of course, alcohol stations prior to entering entering the movie houses, temperature check, and we disinfect, as a matter of fact, every showing. We normally, during the normal times, we would have 5 to 6 screenings. No? Now it's down to between 2 to 3 screenings per day to give ample time to disinfect the whole cinemas, to disinfect all the chairs and the aircon vents and all these things. So we allocate really at least an hour in between to thoroughly clean and to thoroughly disinfect the whole theater.
And Stephen, Health Department Director Dr. Tayag's recommendation, which you just mentioned, when movie houses reopen here in Metro Manila.
So imbes na continuous yun, may pagitan ng 2 oras, so mababaw yung in. At kung box office hit naman yung pelikula, dagdagan nila yung sinihan kung saan ipapalabas ito.
So you already have, Stephen, no, these staggered screenings, no, which Dr. Tayag has mentioned. Instead of 5, you just have either 2 or 3. But is this economically viable? I mean, in terms of opening your movie houses, instead of having all, let's say, 5 or 6 screenings, it's down to just maybe 1/3 of the total number of screenings?
Okay. To tell you honestly, it's not. It's actually our cinema business is losing currently, or even in the MGCQ area. But it is really time for us to really bring back the economy so safely and slowly, and at the same time give employees opportunity to come back to work.
All right. So, how many people from your SM Cinema operations have already gone to work? Because thousands of people have lost their jobs for the last 11 months when movie houses were closed.
Yes, I agree. No, we applied the 40%, between 40% to 60% has gone back to work.
So tell us, Steven, no? Do all your movie house workers have to go through swab tests, health checks before they start working in the cinemas?
Okay, we do temperature check. We make sure they wear PPEs, and if needed, if there's an exposure on the when we do contact tracing, and it's not just for the cinema employees. This is or all the employees in general under SM malls. No, if they have immediately test them, have them tested, and make sure that they are safe and fit to come to work.
So for moviegoers, no, Steven, what would be your advice to them, especially those watching the exchange right now? If they would want to watch a film in your cinemas, what should they be prepared for, and what should they do to prepare themselves?
They have to really comply with us with the guidelines that's given, and we work together with the LGU, given by the LGUs, to make sure that they wear their face masks at all times, that they don't eat and they don't talk inside the cinema, and to keep safe distancing. We do have 1 seat apart sometimes, depending on LGU. They implement 2 seats apart. So we just really have to make sure that we know all these guidelines and to follow the guidelines.
And in a report earlier by Pauline, no, she mentioned about your drive-in cinema at the Mall of Asia concert grounds, and you already have other drive-in cinemas in other areas. Will you be closing them down with the reopening of movie houses in Metro Manila?
Rico, nowadays, consumer is king. It's all about giving them options. It's giving them about whether they want to watch it in drive-in cinemas or they want to watch it in traditional cinemas. They decide. They are the king.
They are the king indeed. Thank you so much for this movie house exchange. Stephen Tan, President of SM Supermalls. And straight ahead on the exchange, where your business is our business, how these services are revolutionizing entertainment as the world remains on lockdown. And this popular candy brand is going vegan with its newest release. Keep it right here on CNN Philippines. News you can trust. Thanks for staying with us right here on The Exchange, where your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Well, we have some sad news for fashionistas. Topshop, Dorothy Perkins, and Burton will be closing down local stores by April after the brand's owner, Arcadia Group, filed for bankruptcy last year. And from buying brands to selling them, Adidas is parting ways with U.S. fitness brand Reebok. The German sportswear group says the sale is part of a 5-year strategic overhaul. With the world still on lockdown, streaming services are giving people much needed entertainment amid this pandemic. Let's now have an exchange with Georgette Tenco, country manager of WeTV and iFlix. Georgette, thank you so much for joining us. We just heard Stephen Tan of SM Cinemas, and he said that we've already seen cinemas open in modified GCQ areas, and now they will open as well in Metro Manila. Will this affect the video streaming business, which has done so well over the past 11 months?
Rico, I don't think so. I think the operative word we have here is commitment. There's a special experience reserved for watching movies in the cinemas, and in the time of COVID, it actually takes more commitment. It becomes an event. Go out and put yourself in that environment. So watching in cinemas is a very social and sensory event. It's the experience of the bigness of the story coming to life and actually feeling it via the sound, the amplification of your emotions and all of that. But streaming, on the other hand, it's a very personal experience.
Yes.
It's just you and your gadget. You have no commitment whatsoever to sit through an entire movie or episode. It's for when you have 2 full hours to devote or maybe only 30 minutes to spare. It gives you options on what, how, when, where you want to consume your content. You know what? I think, Rico, what's going to happen is that cinemas will be reserved for those big, larger-than-life movies. While streaming will be for, everyday, regular, daily entertainment.
Well, that's right. Video streaming is now part of everyone's daily life. And since the lockdown, Georgette, in March, there has been a surge in subscribers, especially for Netflix. Everyone's saying, I'm now Netflixing. It's now part of everyone's vocabulary. For iFlix and Web TV, by how much have you seen your numbers jump since the lockdown?
On iFlix, during the lockdown, we saw our MAUs jump by more than 2x during the height of the lockdown. It kind of tapered off a little bit to about 1.5x when the lockdown was eased. But we're seeing our numbers climb up again as people have gotten the hang of establishing routines as they work from home and even as they venture outside. In June, we actually introduced WeTV, and the numbers have been growing steadily by an average of about 30% month-on-month to as high as 46%. WeTV subscriber count has gone up by 2.5x between Q3 and Q4 of 2020.
All right. Wow, that's a huge jump in the numbers of Georgette. But what types of content are people watching? What do they get kilig about and excited with?
You know what? What we're seeing is actually a shift in what people are watching on our platforms pre and during the pandemic. And this is not just born out of the lockdown where people have more time to watch, but also different factors like the closure of ABS-CBN in the cinemas, how local networks actually stopped producing content for a time. Our viewer base is consuming more light and feel-good content, more mainstream stories versus pre-pandemic times where they would go to streaming platforms for the more niche, for the edgier, for even risky content. So we saw the emergence of BL content of both local and Asian BL. Thai content has been doing really, really well on our platform. We had an original called Mad Genius recently, and also another Thai BL called Love by Chance. So those were very, very popular. Obviously, we have our usual Korean dramas, but Chinese dramas are actually quite close behind with, in terms of popularity. And when it comes to genres, aside from the usual romance and drama, what we're seeing also is the popularity of action and adventure. It's seeing a rise in consumption. So I guess people are living vicariously through the characters.
From rom-com to adventure to thrillers. Do you also have, Georgette, original content, movies or series produced by iFlix right here in the Philippines?
Oh, absolutely. So just this year, we've launched 2. So in January, we launched Section St. Valentine, The Disappearance of Divine. And just last Valentine's, we had our Valentine offering, B&B, the story of the battle of Brody and Brandy. And I have to thank you, Rico, for having the cast and the staff on your show. It's really contributed to the growth of those numbers. And for the rest of the year, we are actually deep into production, into 4 more. But for the whole of 2021, we are aspiring to produce 12 originals. But gauging from the popularity of the last 2 that we've produced, it might be a little bit more. Here's hoping for season 2.
So much potential in the Philippine video streaming market. Thank you so much for this exchange, Georgette Tenco, WeTV and iFlix Country Manager. And KitKat's latest candy bar is vegan friendly and it is dairy free. The KitKat V ditches dairy milk using a rice-based alternative instead, allowing vegans to have a break and have a KitKat. Well, businesses are evolving and the entertainment industry is adapting. We leave you with these guiding words from Walt Disney, who left a lasting legacy in the film and entertainment world. we keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we are curious. And curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. And this is The Exchange. We make sense of the facts and the figures and the ups and downs of the business cycle because your business is our business. I'm Rico Hizon. Thanks for watching CNN Philippines News You Can Use, News You Can Trust.